I'm mad. This is how you act when you are out of control. I don't want to ever see my mother have to go through this again. Never, Jeffrey. Jeffrey, I hate you. I hate you. This is out of control. Don't with me, Jeffrey. I'll kill you. Look at me. I can kill you.
What's your name, fast?
I can kill you.
We're back with the Dahmers. There were accusations that there were racial things involved, right? Because many of the victims were Asian or black. Is that correct?
In all my conversation with Jeff, that was not a factor at all.
Were any of the killings Caucasian?
There was, yes.
At least 3 victims.
Yes.
Of course, this thing was wild headlines everywhere. How did you cope with that?
Not well. I sat with my mother, and our home was invaded by national as well as international photographers set up across the street on neighbors' porches, and ringing doorbells, tromping all over our yard and looking in, trying to see in our windows. It was horrible.
And Geraldo Rivera did this special on it, right?
He did.
And he portrayed a brutal and sadistic killer. You were the epitome of the evil stepmother. What was that all about?
That was part of his hoorah. He also had a guy on there who was supposed to have been Jeff's lover. And we had a cease and desist letter put out to Geraldo because of all the things that he was doing and saying.
And Jeff signed an affidavit that this was not true. And it turned out this later this fellow that appeared on Geraldo was a felon.
But they still went with it.
Yeah.
They ran parts of it.
Regardless of warning, these people still went with it.
How did you face the families?
Openly.
We
reached out.
Reached out with several of the families. Sherry was so wonderful in that regard. I couldn't have gotten through this without Sherry, first of all, let me say. And the way she had her demeanor with people, it causes people to melt. Some of these victims just...
You had to sit through the details of the aspects of these killings. You had to hear about them, right?
Oh, yeah.
How did that... It's your son. I can't imagine. How you dealt with it?
I can't either. To this day, I can't really see how I could... We both just sat there.
Did you look at him when these things were being described?
Well,
yes.
Yes.
His back was to us, but of course.
Most of the time.
Of course.
Did he have remorse?
He read a statement that at the end that it sounded like he was remorseful.
I know the families of the victims will never be able to forgive me for what I have done. I promise I will pray each day to ask for their forgiveness when the hurt goes away, if ever. I have seen their tears, and if I could give my life right now to bring their loved ones back, I would do it. I am so very sorry.
He got a lot of mail, didn't he? He got hate mail. He even got love mail, right?
Oh, lots of good. He had lots of friends out there, supposedly, and people who loved him and cared about him.
They saw him as different from a Bundy or a Gacy.
What prison did he go to?
A Wisconsin correctional institution.
And how long was he in before he was killed?
Portage, Wisconsin.
Couple years?
It was
several years.
2 or 3 years.
And it was a mentally ill inmate, right? How was he killed?
Well, you know, I talked with an attorney who has access to that prison quite intimately. And what happened was there was about 20 to 40 minutes of time where no one, that is the staff at the prison, no one knew the whereabouts of this person who took a barbell or the rod, the bar from weightlifting equipment, and hit it and bludgeoned Jeff to death.
In other words, they let him be loose for all that time without knowing the whereabouts of a prisoner.
This attorney said he was confident that it was something that was allowed to happen, as he put it.
What happened to that person?
He was found guilty. Of course, he was insane, and they sent him to another institution. I think it's in Virginia or wherever he's been moved.
How were you told about Jeff's death?
The warden called me at home and said...
Before the news media had it?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And then, of course, I sent a friend at work up to be with Lionel when I had to tell Lionel that his son had been killed.
How old was he?
He was
You said his 30s.
33. And for the second time, I sat at my desk, totally numb, paralyzed, to get the news.
Did you have a burial? Did they give you the body? Did you?
It wasn't released for over a year.
He wanted to be cremated.
Yes.
And his mother, his natural mother, wanted the brain, the dead brain, to be studied. I was all in favor before of having him studied by tomography while he was alive. We can really find something, perhaps, but not a dead brain. There were some scientists at Case Western Reserve that claimed they could tell why he acted like he did. And it's not possible with a dead person.
What eventually happened to the body?
Well, I played attorney, filed briefs, and appeared in Wisconsin court and won. The judge ruled in my favor not to turn this into a circus anymore.
You cremated him?
Yes, cremated him.
We had half the ashes and his mother the other half.
You have the ashes now?
We took care of them.
You took care of
We put
them.
him to peace.
Why did they hold it for a year?
Because he was legal evidence.
Oh, in the trial of the person who killed him?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
He was legal evidence, so he was held.
How was
well
he
over a
handling
year.
prison?
How was who?
How was he dealing with prison, Jeff?
Jeff was, at first it was extremely hard, but then he sent away for 13 books. It's down in El Cajon, California, Institute for Creation Research. I told him about the place, and he bought 13 books that turned him from a evolutionist into a creationist, and from there into a Christian. And he started handing out pamphlets and so forth, and talking with other prisoners, trying to...
So he was a born again?
I'm sure, in talking with him, that it wasn't just a jailhouse conversion. I really believe that.
Because he wasn't going to get out.
No.
We'll be back with our remaining moments. Find out some things we might learn from this after this.
Dahmer was on janitor duty when his body was found in a blood-spattered bathroom. He had massive...
And the preliminary findings of the pathologist were that Mr. Dahmer died as a result of blunt force injury of head.
Step out of the